Alright then. Let's be live for everyone. What? Yeah, we're gonna be live for everybody. Yeah. What? What are you talking? Yeah, we're Hey everybody, it's Grimgriz and the Virtually Not Alone experience. Hi. So you might think you're alone, but we too are virtually in solitary confinement, and together we are virtually not alone. Have you heard? 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 Ah! What? What this? Yet? No, not that one. Are you new at this? Oh. So like YouTube is doing this thing where if I don't feed them enough video, they like start stifling the stream. It's alright, it's alright. Hey, what's up? Okay, so as we do savings throws around here. Let's do those. You get to choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart to play. Your number is based on the die I roll right now. If you get over 10, you take half damage from the mind control. If you chose survival, you got a nat 1 and are fully subject to the mind control of today's show. If you chose social, you got a 6 and may have gotten enough bonuses through community participation to get over 10. Otherwise, sophists with a 3, you're in trouble. Those heart folks, though, with 10, just enough to take half damage from the mind control that follows on today's Thunder. Oh, it's the 5th now. Hold on. Cut. 5th. Yeah, you were gonna do it last night. Okay. Well, no, it's the 5th. On today's Thunderbay Promo, Grim Chris live stream. Welcome. Remember, Embody, there is no agency. Okay. Today's episode of Thunderbay Promo, the backstory goes a little bit like this. Hey, Paperbull. Once upon a time, the apostle of purpose, the apostle of practice, and the apostle of people agreed to all meet together in a place called Thunder Bay. This event approaches. I was invited to attend this event. However, it is on the wrong side of the double vaxing line, and I was not able to attend. But the event is still coming, and the agency that's not an agency. Remember, Embody, we want what's best for you. Has instructed me to make a promo for this event based on this and related footage.
We can have as much pleasure as we want. It's insane.
And of course, love is an interesting one to get into with respect to constraint. It's like, well, my marriage constrains me because I'm only supposed to have sexual relations with one woman. Or wouldn't I?
Okay, so you see, this poor pastor fellow is feeling sexually constrained, and so he's going to meet up with this fellow over here in the top left and this other guy in this place called Thunder Bay. And the agency wants me to make a promo for it, and thus the Thunder Bay Promo live stream event, the Virtually Not Alone event, was born. Welcome. That's what we'll be doing here today. I hope you enjoy the ride. This thing is theoretically from this. Yes, Demons and the Machine.
So we kind of talked about like this space, the conversations that we're part of, and kind of who knows where you sort of draw the boundaries, but there is sort of definitely a coherence to the conversation. And I want to kind of
That guy is this fella. He's a villain.
ask where you feel that coherence is at the moment, because for me, I was really struck by recently, I hosted a conversation between Paul Kingsnorth and Mary Harrington that felt to me to be sort of a very interesting coalescing of the conversation. It overlaps with a lot of the conversations that you've had, Paul Vanderklay's been talking about, and they were really talking about, if I could summarize their conversation, it was sort of looking at, I call it the war on reality.
Virtuosity and virtue, like, and this is in the key of a key thing in Taoism, right? Cultivating a kind of profound receptivity. There's a lot of ways in which we're blinded, we're dulled, we're deafened, and that will prevent us from, I'll use your language for now, for hearing the revelation.
Oh, whoa! Sorry for the interruption, ladies and gentlemen. But this pet cow has confessed to us he has been tempted to get the mark just to attend Thunder Bay. And as such, I feel obligated to do the following, but it's going to take me a minute to do the following, so here's some more of this for commentary.
Mm-hmm. And so I do think there's a lot and I don't think you're recommending passivity. I think there's a lot we can do about cultivating a deep and profound kind of receptivity that will become responsibility, ability to respond when the new insight, the new disclosure happens. I do think that is something that can be recommended right now for people.
What? There's a new disclosure gonna happen? I wasn't paying attention. Ladies and gentlemen, this here is Thunder Bay, according to Google Maps, who knows all and sees all. It's right across from the Isle Royale National Park. But this here at Eagle Harbor. This is on the not double vaxxed side of, this is the double vaxxed line right here. On this side is Eagle Harbor and Eagle River. Maybe we can gather there and wave to them this September.
Demon behind this, he might say yes. But he's like, I don't know how to say that.
Well, he did say that he felt that the driver was metaphysical.
Right. So he's kind of pointing towards something like that.
Okay. That's an interesting question. But you're a professor with tenure. Like, you don't talk about kind of metaphysics in this way. Do you feel uncomfortable about?
What do you mean? So,
well,
I do talk about distributed cognition.
You've got a reputation to protect. We don't. It's basically what I'm saying.
And there we get into the question of institutions, which will come in quite a bit later. And then it's a question that David keeps pointing to, because David and Jonathan might have individual reputations to protect. They might have YouTuber reputations to protect. But John is a professor. The Christian Reformed Church right now, on CRC Voices, we're having a big conversation about confessionality and reputation, because what's been happening in terms of the Christian Reformed Church and the question of same-sex marriage. I mean, it's just suddenly this machinery that was felt to be archaic of confessionality suddenly is vivid all across the board, where it wasn't just 2 years ago.
Jonathan's point.
That wasn't a very entertaining clip. So, but toward the end here,
Have your peace. Again, book of 1 Corinthians. What happens in the body of Christ is that different people have different pieces and they play their role.
More going from making things just for YouTube to trying to get more mainstream and legacy media attention on some of.
Let me see if I can find the comment. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. All right, I will sum up. Someone's like, David Fuller is leaving this corner of the internet and going to Kathy Newman's office. And she knocks on the door, and she's like, so what you're saying is you want your old job back.
Some of these ideas, some of these practices, going back, completing that kind of hero's journey of going from the legacy out into the alternative and coming back with the gold, and supporting people like yourself and shining a light on it and saying, this is significant. Hey, everyone, look at this. This is significant. And this is how it fits together with other things. That's the thing I think that I am able to bring, because I've been involved in so many of these different conversations. And I've also got.
Well, it was an opportune moment to bring up Chad's latest Joker fetish. Where is it? It's in Bridges of Meaning Hub. Not the nihilistic nachos one. Not that one, Chad. Not that one. This one. Where it's got the Lady Gaga face, because she's the new Harley Quinn.
Greetings and welcome to the Bridges of Meaning Hub channel. I'm Chad the Alcoholic, and today we're doing an investigative report into the Joker films. So,
Now, under the definition for induced delusional disorder in the ICD-10, we see that the secondary partner has to develop a delusion originally present in the other subjects. The two subjects must be linked by a strong relationship and be relatively isolated, and the secondary partner does not suffer from schizophrenia or delusional disorder and does not manifest a delusional belief before coming into contact with the primary subject. So essentially, the diagnostic classification only covers imposed psychosis and communicated psychosis and excludes simultaneous and induced psychosis. Shared psychotic disorder in the DSM-4-TR had pretty much the same criteria. As I mentioned, in DSM-5, we don't see the retention of that diagnosis. If somebody now met the criteria for that older classification, they would likely be diagnosed with schizophrenia, brief psychotic disorder, or delusional disorder. I think most likely it really would be delusional disorder. If the secondary partner does not fulfill the diagnostic criteria for a delusional disorder, the diagnosis of other specified schizophrenia spectrum or other psychotic disorder can be used with the following specification: delusional symptoms in the partner of an individual with delusional disorder.
Now, it's important to me that you get the delusion correct. And when you manifest your delusional symptoms, they are sticking to the canon of the LARPgate. And so the goal overall is the creation of this thing called the God Mask. And basically, it's like that Joseph Campbell clip I did with Karen. Splice it in? Okay. And the thing we're putting on their faces, it's like, okay, so experientially, everybody should have this by now. That moment when somebody pulls you aside and lets you know that Santa Claus isn't real, like that, but with like, the government loves you. And okay, and now here's the way the world really is. You're one of us now. Help us hold things together. That's the God Mask. And the goal is overall to weave through these pillars of people searching through wisdom to assemble the pieces of the God Mask. Sometimes that means we have to listen to boring intellectual folks, but so be it. Yeah?
Selective and enabling. Evolution. Evolution needs natural selection, and it kills things off and it winnows things down. Yes, right? But it also has variation. These are enabling constraints. Limits not only, right, and this is what I mean about you have to hear the term in an unmarked way. They're not just constraining you, they're also affording you, right? So language limits me. I'm a critique.
God bless you. God bless you, Hi-Res.
Officer K, D6-3.7. Let's begin. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Recite your baseline.
In blood black nothingness began to spin. A system of cells interlinked within cells, interlinked within cells, interlinked within one stem.
Fuck off, skin job.
And dreadfully distinct against the dark, a tall white fountain plays.
Cells.
Thank you. Good to see you, Rez.
I criticize this. Propositions limit us, but language also enables me. I can talk about, what might have happened if Africa had discovered steam power earlier than England. I can do that, and you can go, oh, and you can like language. Bertrand.
All right. As discussed, today's episode is the Thunderbay Promo, where I'm going through this stuff to get material for the promo. And that moment.
Also, do that, and you can discovered steam power earlier than England. I can do that, and you can go, oh, or earlier than England. I can do that, and you can go, oh, and you can like language. Bertrand Russell once said, no matter what might have happened if Africa had discovered steam power earlier than England. I can do that, and you can go, England. I can do that. I can do that, and you can go, oh, and you can eloquently a dog barked. Bertrand. I can do that. And you can go, oh, and you can I can do that. And you can go, oh, and you can I can do that. And you can go, oh, and you can I can do that. And you can go, oh, and you can
I'm sorry you had to go through that, but you see, now we have the clip, right?
like language. Bertrand Russell once said, no matter how eloquently a dog barks, it can't tell you that its parents were poor but hardworking. So language both limits me in the negative sense, but it also affords me in the positive sense. And so absolute freedom and an absolute removal of all, well, I'll become completely self-determining. But does that mean you think the self is a bound, limited thing? No, the self is completely, and it's like, what do you mean by self-determination if there's no limiting, if there's no...
All right, now I got to find the part where Pajot talks about demons. Hold on.
Organically manifests itself in a normal, not sometimes in a messy way and sometimes in a violent way, but would work itself out. Whereas now what we've got is, in order to access the metaverse and to have access to absolute freedom to do whatever you want, you have to give up every single aspect of yourself to this machine. You have to be completely submitted to it. You have to see, everything about you is going to be owned by this thing, and there's no way out of it. And so it's like, it's 1984 and Brave New World at the same time. Like, who thought?
See, right there's a pretty good bit.
That this was possible. But it seems like that's what we're kind of seeing on, owned by this thing, and there's no way, everything about you is going to be owned by this thing, and there's no way out of it. And so it's like, it's 1984 and Brave New World at the same time. Like, who thought that this was possible? But it seems that this was possible. Everything about you is going to be owned by this thing, and there's no way out of it. And so it's like, it's 1984 that this was possible. But it seems like that's what we're kind of seeing on the horizon, where it's like, it's absolute control, but one that is balanced out weirdly with this.
Okay, this is excellent. This is tremendously helpful, and thank you for speaking on his behalf, because he's not here to speak for himself. So there's now an issue of almost finesse or virtuosity or nuance, because you can't be critical of the self-organizing, having a life of its own aspect of this thing, because that's how it functions.
Instrumentalization of things towards my own self.
Okay.
And so what they're saying is freedom. But like, I prefer the desire part, because I think it's closer to a whole historical development.
Well, freedom is understood as freedom from restraint on desire.
Exactly. There you go. Okay. And so historical development.
Well, freedom is understood as...
Like, I prefer the desire part, because I think it's closer to a whole historical development.
Well, freedom is understood as freedom from restraint on desire.
Exactly. There you go. Okay. And so is all things towards desire. They only is the desire to instrumentalize. This is maybe filtered through my own symbolic lens or whatever, is to say something like, what I see is the desire to instrumentalize all things towards desire. They won't say desire, they say freedom. But like, I prefer the desire part, because I think it's closer to a whole historical development.
Well, freedom is understood as freedom from restraint on desire.
Exactly, there you go. Okay. And so what I see
All right. Me working on is not as entertaining as I like to be for a live stream. So the rest I will do. But look, I'm obeying the agency, and I'm making the Thunderbay promo. I might, Luke, and I mean, I feel as though I'm not being sufficiently entertaining for everyone. Good to see you, though. Good to see you. Okay, let's jump back to a Paul part.
Got a sense of where the mainstream conversation is and what the pressure points are on that.
Land. Oh yeah, we want to go to the promised land together. No, there are giants in the land. I mean, it's always given. We don't produce it. We participate in it, but we don't produce it. It's a gift. It's enlightenment.
Functions, worlds are built on revelation.
And
Would be given, and it's hard for people to understand what that means, but I think that the worlds are built on revelation.
And the difficulty of the Enlightenment, the iron box that the Enlightenment creates, is that there's the buffered self. There's no ability to be given. There's no revelation. There's no word from above. And Peugeot is right that it's always given. Israel doesn't rebel and get out of Egypt. The Lord comes and says, "I'm taking you." Moses, send somebody else. And then Israel goes kicking and screaming in some ways to the promised land. Oh yeah, we want to go to the promised land together. No, there are giants in the land. I mean, it's always given. We don't produce it. We participate in it, but we don't produce it. It's a gift. It's a revelation. It comes from always given. It's always given. We don't produce it. We participate in it, but we don't produce it. It's a gift. It's a revelation. It comes from above. Screaming in some ways to the promised land. And then Israel goes kicking and screaming. The Lord comes and says, "I'm taking you." Rebel and get out of Egypt. The Lord comes and get out of Egypt. The Lord and says, "I'm Egypt." The Lord comes and says, "I'm taking you." We don't produce. Comes from above. The Lord comes and says, "I'm taking you." Moses, send somebody else. And don't produce it. We participate in it, but we don't produce it. It's a
Much like life, and this virtually not alone moment. It's a given that you feel less alone because I'm also existing in this beautiful, wonderful, glorious gift of this timeline. Something given involves a receiver. It can't be 100% emanation. Sure. We're God holding its breath. So, that's the receiver part. Good to see you, Luke. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Thanks for being part of the Hive Mind chat. Awesome you came by, Rez. Papable. The plumbing issues. The only explanation he has is Ghost with Crit Pet Cow. This was the Thunderbay Promo stream. Stay tuned for the Thunderbay Promo product on this same bad channel. Thank you, and good night.